The Zathrim had conquered Earth in 17 hours. Kara pressed her back against the cold metal wall of the derelict station, her breath forming small clouds in the frozen air. Somewhere beyond the fractured viewport, Earth hung like a broken jewel, silent, still, and utterly devoid of human life. All except her, she had survived by being forgotten. While the Zathrim's scanning arrays swept the planet for human biosignatures, she had been here, in this abandoned mining outpost at the edge of the solar system, conducting routine maintenance that would never matter again. By the time she'd received the distress signals, it was already over. That had been 3 months ago. Now, the Zathrim had found her. Vorn stood at the airlock entrance, his cybernetic enhancements gleaming under the emergency lighting. He was magnificent and terrible, 7 feet of augmented muscle and biomechanical fusion, built by the Zathrim to be the perfect hunter. His eyes, once brown, now glowed with a soft amber light that pierced the darkness. Neural implants traced patterns along his skull, connecting directly to the Zathrim command network. He had been human once. Before the augmentation, before they had stripped away everything that made him who he was and rebuilt him as their instrument, the Zathrim called their converted humans wolves. Apex predators turned loyal hounds. Kara Chen, Vorn's voice emerged mechanically, filtered through vocal enhancers. You will accompany me to the extraction vessel. The masters wish to study the last human specimen. Kara's hand trembled as she clutched the plasma torch she'd been using for repairs. It wasn't a weapon, but it was all she had. You were from New Detroit. I saw it in your file when I hacked the command logs. You had a daughter, Sarah. She was 6. Something flickered across Vorn's face, too fast to identify. Irrelevant data, he said, but his voice carried a strange hesitation. That entity no longer exists. I am Vorn, Hunter-class Wolf, designation XH7749. Sarah liked strawberries, Kara continued, her voice cracking. You wrote about it in your personal logs. How she'd stain her fingers red and laugh. How she called them red stars. Vorn took a step forward and Kara raised the torch defensively. Its flame cast dancing shadows across his augmented features. The masters are waiting, he said. Compliance will result in minimal discomfort. Why did they keep you? Kara asked desperately. Why didn't they just kill you like the others? I demonstrated exceptional combat capability, Vorn replied automatically. My psychological profile indicated high adaptability to augmentation. I was useful. You were a person, Kara whispered. You loved your daughter. You were human. Human is extinct, Vorn stated. His hand moved to the neural weapon mounted on his forearm. You are the last. When you are gone, the word will have no meaning. Above them, the station groaned. Through the viewport, Kara could see the massive Zathrim harvester ship approaching, its bioluminescent hull pulsing like a deep-sea nightmare. They were coming to collect their prize. Kara made her decision. She wouldn't let them take her. Wouldn't let them dissect the last piece of humanity like a laboratory curiosity. She lunged toward the emergency decompression panel. Vorn moved with impossible speed, his augmented reflexes closing the distance before her fingers could reach the controls. His hand clamped around her wrist, gentle despite his strength. Do not, he said. I won't be their specimen, Kara gasped. I won't let you take me, their eyes met. In that moment, Kara saw something that shouldn't have been possible. Behind the amber glow in neural circuitry, behind the Zathrim programming and behavioral conditioning, something human was looking back at her. Sarah called them red stars, Vorn whispered, and his voice was his own, fractured, broken, but human. The station's proximity alarms shrieked. The Zathrim boarding craft had attached to the hull. Vorn's entire body went rigid. His eyes flickered as competing commands flooded his neural network. The Zathrim masters were giving orders, demanding compliance, reasserting control. Fight it, Kara urged. You're still in there. You're still human. Cannot disobey. Vorn's voice distorted, shifting between mechanical and human. Masters, command. The airlock began to cycle. Chittering Zathrim voices echoed through the corridor, eager, anticipating. Something in Vorn broke, or perhaps something in him finally remembered how to be whole. He released Kara's wrist and turned toward the airlock, his neural weapon charged with a sound like thunder building. When he spoke, his voice carried absolute certainty. No. The Zathrim warriors poured through the opening. their crystalline exoskeletons refracting light in nauseating patterns. They expected submission from their wolf. They expected obedience. Vorn gave them war. He moved like lightning, like rage given form. His augmented strength meant to serve the Zathram now turned against them. Neural weapon fire carved through crystalline armor. Enhanced reflexes anticipated their strikes. Every modification they had made to create the perfect hunter now became their undoing. Run, Vorn roared to Kara, his voice fully human now, raw with emotion and pain. The emergency shuttle. Bay 7. Kara ran. Behind her, Vorn fought with the desperation of a man reclaiming his soul. Each Zathram he struck down was a declaration. Each moment he defied their commands was an act of resurrection. The neural implants in his skull sparked and burned as the masters tried to override him, tried to force compliance, tried to make him their tool once more. But Vorn had found something stronger than their programming. He had found purpose. Kara reached the shuttle bay, her hands flying over the launch controls. Through the station's internal cameras, she could see Vorn still fighting, still holding the corridor even as more Zathram warriors poured in. His augmented body was failing, overloaded systems beginning to shut down. He was dying, and he was doing it as a human. The shuttle engines roared to life. Kara's hand hovered over the launch command, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispered to the man who had chosen humanity over obedience, who had remembered love when surrounded by extinction. The shuttle launched into the black, carrying the last human away from Earth, away from the Zathram. Behind her, in a forgotten station at the edge of a dead system, a wolf named Vorn made his final stand. Not as a weapon, not as a tool, but as a man defending the last ember of the species he had once belonged to. And in that moment, humanity was not extinct, it was defiant.